Mega projects built in the world's most unforgiving places. Multi-billion-dollar budgets. Timelines that span several years. Brilliant minds working in different directions. When chaos threatens to derail everything, they bring in Richard.
So I was very fortunate to work on a mega project, multi-billions, international. We had 52 different nationalities on this project. It was 50,000 people, very technically challenging. Where execution certainty actually just absolutely paid off. And that project, frankly, was in a state of chaos. There were a lot of people that were brilliant, but no one was connected as to what we were trying to accomplish holistically for the entire project. They had their individual little kingdoms, if you want to call it that they were trying to get done. And a lot of times what was happening is the interfaces between them, our counterproductive decisions were being made because they were in the self-interest of the one, not on the whole. What I loved about execution certainty is it drove, by default, the alignment between the owner, ourselves as, let's say, the managing contractor, to the actual subcontractors. It also removed barriers that existed.
The transformation of this mega project didn't happen overnight, but when it took hold, the shift was undeniable.
The planning was working amazingly well. The teamwork was fabulous. Safety performance was excellent. We were on schedule. We were meeting the objectives of the cost for that time. And we achieved a 1.0 productivity in the field, which had never happened on a project of that scale. It saved multi-billions and over a year on the schedule. And if you knew where the project was headed before we implemented it, it would have been a train wreck. It was not easy, but it would not have been nearly as successful had we not been able to do that. There's no product out there that delivers what execution certainty does in these complicated environments. As a leader, the things that execution certainty brings to the table are the things you need to be successful. It brings the definition of success, it brings alignment with all the stakeholders, and it brings the team together on the very weighty and complicated issues that will make that success happen.
Execution certainty was built to tame chaos on mega projects. But when Richard faced his biggest personal challenge yet, transforming his own organization, he made a bold bet. Could this methodology work beyond the mega project job site?
And I had to completely transform an organization that I was responsible for from a very small business to essentially 5 times bigger, from $100 million to multi-billion-dollar business. And execution certainty, it was the best tool I knew to actually get a bunch of people, over 100 people that we needed to have on board, to understand what it was going to take to make the transition, because they just didn't know what they didn't know. And so it was the one way to get everybody on the same page, and execution certainty provided the structure, provided the backbone, provided the right conversations, the right things we needed to define what our goal was, and then how were we going to work back and make the leadership steps in place to make that happen. We went from $1 billion to over $5 billion in less than 12 months. And that never would have happened without the tool.
For Richard, the proof was undeniable. From mega projects to organizational transformation, execution certainty delivered.